Hello everyone, welcome to Postcard Buddhism, the best channel for sharing knowledge about Buddhism. Today we will talk about the topic, rebirth according to karma. In this episode, we will explore how our actions and behaviors in life influence our rebirth, using the profound example given by Venerable Narada Thera about the inclination of a tree and the momentum of karma. Understanding these concepts can help us grasp how our karmic energy drives our future lives and shapes our rebirths. Views of religions and philosophers on the afterlife. The question of where we come from and where we go after death has intrigued people throughout history. Both religions and philosophical schools have endeavored to find answers to these profound questions. Various religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, Protestantism, Islam, Hinduism, and Confucianism, believe that human life is a gift from God, who uses the mother's womb to form life. Ancient Greek philosophers believed that humans originated from earth, water, air, and fire. Modern materialist philosophers argue that humans come from matter. Each perspective on the origin of human life leads to different theories about death and the afterlife. Materialists believe that after death, humans return to their material origins. They view human life as a single existence in the present, emerging from matter, developing consciousness, living and working in the world, aging, becoming ill, and dying as the final end, with nothing after death. Buddhism considers this a limited view, referred to as annihilationism. In the biological world, including humans and animals, death is not the final end but a transition to another existence. Theistic religions believe that humans are created by God, and that there are two possible destinations after death, heaven or hell. Believers who follow God's teachings go to heaven to enjoy eternal life, while non-believers or those who question religious doctrines are condemned to eternal hell. Buddhism also considers this view limited, as it does not reflect the complexity of cause and effect in human actions, speech, deeds, and thoughts. In the Heart Sutra, the Buddha stated that all phenomena are neither born nor destroyed. This profound statement implies that everything does not simply come into existence or cease to exist. Modern science supports this idea through the principle of energy conservation. For instance, rain from clouds eventually evaporates and returns as clouds again, demonstrating that energy changes form but is not lost. Human life, according to Buddhism, is not created by a deity. Buddhism teaches that the concept of God is a human creation based on superstition. A German philosopher once stated, "God is dead," meaning that as human knowledge, science, and morality develop, belief in God diminishes. The belief that death is the end leads to a carefree and indulgent lifestyle. If there is no difference in the outcomes for good and evil people, why strive for virtue? While some people may not believe in an afterlife but still lead good lives due to moral upbringing and positive influences, others may become reckless, leading to negative consequences and deepening into the mire of bad karma and crime. Letting go to pass away peacefully. The state of regret can delay the process of rebirth for one or several lifetimes. Near-death karma is the perception, attitude, and actions during the final moments before death. In the process of rebirth, some individuals become engrossed in the beauty of flowers and unusual plants along the way, forgetting their path, purpose, and destination. Practitioners of the Pure Land sect aim for the Western Pure Land. However, if they do not focus their mind on the Western Pure Land, but instead on the newly built house they haven't yet enjoyed, they might be reborn as a child or grandchild in that house. Although sometimes hard to believe, these things are real. Historical figures who served their country with integrity, selflessly dedicating their lives to their homeland, but were wrongly accused due to slander, often face severe consequences like the extermination of their families. For instance, Nguyen Trai was posthumously exonerated centuries later, and many other distinguished generals experienced similar fates. Those who die with unresolved grievances, if not trained in the art of letting go, find it difficult to attain liberation. They linger in the injustice of their tarnished reputation, burdened by shame and pain, mocked by history. This unresolved state delays their departure. In such situations, spirits often return to guide their descendants to help them resolve their grievances. A Japanese Zen story teaches a profound lesson with just 2 words, "Is that so?" This phrase is used to release resentment, avoiding complaints or blaming others, viewing the matter as unworthy of concern. With a smile, it helps one accept and release their karma. However, Buddhism advises that to resolve grievances, one must speak up and explain. The Baovung Tamui says, "Grievances need not be explained because explaining is cowardice." I advise against this, as the Buddha's teachings in the sutras are more reliable. The Buddha, throughout his life, faced countless false accusations and slander. In each case, he responded by saying, "This is not within me. I am not the author of this accusation." Whether people believed him or not was up to them. At least, in terms of social responsibility in revealing the truth, he fulfilled his duty without falling into the trap of feeling victimized. This helped alleviate the burden of false accusations to some extent. If grievances are not voiced, people might believe the falsehoods, leading to widespread slander and loss of faith in moral values, causing many obstacles in life. In a monarchy, self-exoneration was challenging, as the king might not listen, and there might be no opportunity to explain. However, by declaring that one is not the author of the accusation, one learns the lesson of letting go, without resentment towards those who wrongfully accuse or harm them. Practicing this way, one avoids obstacles in the process of rebirth, which could otherwise take several decades, centuries, or even thousands of years. Thus, in the process of dying, those with unresolved grievances who do not let go remain entangled in their resentment, delaying the process of rebirth. Another story tells of a highly virtuous monk who, in his later years, developed a deep passion for gardening. His meticulously tended garden became part of his life. When he passed away, his attachment to the garden caused him to be reborn as a worm in that very garden. Fortunately, another monk recognized this and said to the worm, "You are a virtuous monk. Do not cling to these beautiful flowers." This reminder helped the worm awaken, relinquish its attachment, and be reborn as a monk, continuing on the bodhisattva path. Such stories should not be dismissed or disbelieved. In the final years of life, one should not let greed, anger, or ignorance influence them. Holding on to regrets, hatred, resentment, or injustice contaminates the mind, trapping one in a realm incongruent with their accumulated merit. During the transitional period, being ensnared causes accumulated merits to be lost, remaining as potential energy without an opportunity to manifest. Through self-effort or rituals for the deceased, if one can let go of attachments, the energy for rebirth can align with compatible karma. The psychology of near-death karma. The mind's desire for a particular place influences the rebirth energy to lead us towards that destination. Sudden psychological changes at the last moments before death can lead to positive or negative outcomes. Some individuals who spent their lives doing wrong might, in their final years, receive guidance towards righteousness and ethics, leading them to repent, perform good deeds, practice vegetarianism, and accumulate merit, which can result in a favorable near-death karma and subsequent rebirth. Conversely, those who practice superficially, without truly transforming their inner self or attaining complete purity, may find their near-death karma leading to a less favorable rebirth. Take the example of a cirrhotic patient who is often advised by traditional medicine to eat finely chopped snails, especially raw, to nourish the liver and delay the progression of cirrhosis, leading to death. Dutiful Buddhist children and grandchildren might hesitate, unsure whether to follow this traditional medical advice. They come to the temple for guidance, and my suggestion is to discuss this with the patient before making a decision. Whether they negotiate or make the decision themselves, I advise them to weigh 3 factors. 1. Duration of life extension. How long can this traditional treatment prolong the patient's life? If medical advice suggests only a year or a few months, depending on the stage of the disease, then this may not be the best solution. The inevitable death might be delayed, but often at the cost of prolonged suffering, extending the patient's pain and suffering. 2. Ethical implications. The daily killing in preparation of dozens of snails over a year increases the act of killing by hundreds of times. The merit gained from extending the patient's life does not compensate for the negative karma incurred, which can lead to shortened lifespans and increased suffering in future rebirths. 3. Mental state. During the time sustained by such actions involving killing, can the family maintain a peaceful mind towards a blissful realm? or will they live in constant fear of death? Dying in a state of mental crisis is extremely harmful. Instead, guiding the patient's mind towards acceptance of life and death, understanding that everyone must face death eventually, is more beneficial. The length of life is less important than the quality and meaning of how one lives. If we live doing good, avoiding evil, and being happy, this karma will create a similar peaceful near-death karma, leading to a calm and gentle passing. This is a blessing for both the deceased and their family. Older individuals, when advised by doctors to eat whatever they wish, should not indulge excessively. Overindulgence can hasten death, and such indulgent karma can influence them to be reborn as beings who also live for pleasure in their next life. Those who have lived virtuously might find their final moments negatively influenced if they indulge excessively, turning their good karma into bad. If diagnosed with a terminal illness, with only a short time left, Buddhists should remain calm and say, "Is that so?" This state of non-fear creates a positive mental energy that can lead to a peaceful death. This immunity depends on a positive or negative mindset. In 2003, UNICEF sponsored my visit to 10 Buddhist aid centers along the border of Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, and Chiang Nai between Thailand and Myanmar. The patients there were poor rural Thais, lacking health protection knowledge. Poverty and the lure of easy money led many women to fall victim to the epidemic. Visiting patients in the final stages, I would recite a sutra in Vietnamese. During the chanting, I observed some patients trying to sit up. Among them was a woman in her 30s, frail and unable to sit up. I signaled for her to lie down. She tried to put her hands together in a gesture of respect, but was too weak to do so. As I continued to chant, she passed away before I finished the Great Compassion mantra. Her lips formed a faint smile as she took her last breath. This positive state suggests a favorable rebirth. Learning about this woman, the resident monk informed me that she had been diagnosed only 3 years prior. Negative psychological attitudes and the fear of death tormented her. She cursed her husband who had infected her and her child. This negative mindset caused her immune system to plummet, leading to an earlier death. In contrast, at another temple, a woman had lived with the disease for over 10 years but remained healthy. She chanted sutras and recited the Buddha's name daily. Besides practicing, she wove bamboo crafts to earn income for treatment. She expressed no fear of death, relying on the Triple Gem's blessings and the care of monks. This joy and happiness created an immunity that extended her life. I believe, if Buddhist charity centers can provide end-of-life support similar to Thailand, it would be highly commendable. Choosing the realm of rebirth. The key to ensuring a peaceful transition at the time of death lies in training and mastering the mind during life. When impermanence and death come, one should maintain a state of undisturbed concentration, directing the mind towards the Western Pure Land to depart peacefully. Alternatively, if one desires to continue living on this planet, aspiring to become a scientist, educator, artist, philanthropist, etc., one should direct the mind towards these goals. In this way, the individual will continue to be reborn into families compatible with their karmic affinities, allowing them to fulfill their duties and aspirations. Following one's aspirations ensures a destination for rebirth. The realm of rebirth is determined by one's karma or vows. In the map of the 10 realms, 6 realms belong to the ordinary world, and 4 realms belong to the holy world. The 4 holy realms include Buddha, Bodhisattva, Arhat, and Sravaka. Sravaka includes Pratyeka Buddha and solitary enlightened ones. The 6 ordinary realms include 1. Heavenly beings, devas. These are beings from other planets who possess greater blessings, longevity, physical form, health, and peace compared to humans on this Saha world. 2. Humans. Our human existence on this Saha world is considered average in terms of blessings and karma. 3. Asuras. Known as deities in Vietnam, asuras are worshipped in communal houses, ding, and goddesses in shrines, mu. In the northern culture, communal houses are often built next to temples. These places honor officials and generals who contributed to the country, known as local deities. This reflects a culture of gratitude and recognition of those who served the homeland. 4. Animals. Those who lived indulging in sensory pleasures to the point of depravity, harboring evil and animalistic tendencies, or being overly attached to possessions may be reborn as animals. This is a great misfortune because animals lack the development of consciousness. As animals, it is uncertain when one can be reborn as a human. However, animals in circuses that possess strong extrasensory perception and can follow human training might have their karma transformed and be reborn as humans more quickly. Number 5. Hungry ghosts. Contrary to popular belief, hungry ghosts do not dwell underground. The notion of the underworld is a myth. Instead, they exist in an intermediate state after death due to attachment and regret. These spirits can be found in graves, altars, near or inside our homes, or where death occurred. They are present during both day and night and often seek help from the living. Hence, we should not fear ghosts, but rather show compassion and support them through rituals to help them let go of their suffering. 6. Hell beings. Hell is not a physical place, but a concept used to teach about karma. Descriptions of hell and hungry ghosts in Buddhism show similar characteristics. The real hell is the continuous suffering experienced in this world. Unhappy marriages filled with constant conflict, creating an unending cycle of hatred and pain, are examples of living hells. Continual acts of evil that cause suffering for others also constitute creating hell on earth. In truth, there are 8 realms. The 3 holy realms are Buddha, Bodhisattva, and Arhat. Arhats are also referred to as Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, or solitary enlightened ones. The 5 ordinary realms are humans, heavenly beings, asuras, hungry ghosts, and animals. These realms are determined by one's karmic consciousness or blessings. Therefore, at the time of death, one's rebirth follows their karma or blessings. In the Daily Recitation book, the Daily Recitation compilation of 49 sutras, which I compiled in 1994 and has been reprinted many times, there is a contemplation in the repentance section as follows. All sentient beings must age, none can escape the twilight hour. All sentient beings must bear illness, none can remain forever hale and hearty. All sentient beings must face death, none can evade the time of demise. All sentient beings must endure separation, leaving behind everything, going alone, carrying the karma of 3 lifetimes, following us like a shadow, never letting go. Now I take refuge in the Dharma King, attaining nirvana, auspicious and joyful. This is a truth to be acknowledged. The process of rebirth depends greatly on one's karma. Good karma leads to favorable rebirths, while bad karma leads to unfavorable ones. Believing in karma ensures a peaceful realm of rebirth. The most crucial aspect is to let go of attachments to depart peacefully. Where do we go after death? Death is not the end. The Buddhist perspective asserts that when humans or animals pass away, it is not the end but rather a continuation, like a dot connecting with other dots along a straight path. This path's length and breadth, its early or late end, depend on the psychological nature and actions of the individual or animal. During the Buddha's time, many dialogues recorded in the long discourses discussed the nature of death and the concept of life after death. Ancient materialist philosophers of India, such as the Carvakas, believed that after death, the physical and mental body, composed of 5 elements, physical structure, emotional flow, conceptualization, discriminative perception, and mental operations, would return to dust. They posited that consciousness is merely a component of matter. This doctrine has been maximized in modern materialism, influencing socialist countries significantly. The Buddha presented numerous evidences to refute the idea that death is the absolute end, suggesting that the cessation of a phenomenon without continuation is a flawed concept. His teachings, especially as encapsulated in the Diamond Sutra, emphasize neither arising nor ceasing. This philosophy suggests that if phenomena do not originate without cause, their continuity cannot end without cause either. They transform from one form to another, depending on conditions, environment, circumstances, and collective karma of beings in the universe. Consider the act of throwing a ball against a wall. When it hits the wall, some might think the ball's journey ends since it has left the hand. From a two-dimensional spatial perspective, this seems true. We no longer see the ball in the hand. However, from a multi-dimensional spatial perspective, the ball's movement continues from the hand to the wall and beyond. The impact creates a rebound force, leading to further movements until the force dissipates, and even then it causes reactions in its surroundings. By analyzing this rebound effect, we see that the process continues indefinitely. The complex and diverse nature of these reactions means that from a physical perspective, nothing truly ends. Therefore, death is not the end. Materialist philosophers' notion that death is the end, contrasted with the Buddha's view of life after death, ties into the ethical dimension. Many ancient Indian materialists rejected the idea of an afterlife. While they lived morally upright lives, the Buddha cautioned that such a belief could lead to harmful behaviors, as it negates the incentive to act ethically if life and death are seen as ultimately the same. Belief in a next life encourages a sense of moral responsibility regarding one's actions, words, and deeds. This belief, even if the afterlife proves non-existent, benefits the community and society. The concept of neither arising nor ceasing outlines the continuous flow of beings, with each point being a part of life. Life and death interweave within this process, suggesting that we die and regenerate in every moment, biologically and physically. This Buddhist view aligns with modern biological and physical theories. From a physical standpoint, clinical death is marked by brain inactivity, cessation of the heartbeat, and sensory shutdown. However, this is only a partial assessment of death's nature and may not fully align with the Buddhist understanding. In the scriptures, the Buddha presents a metaphor involving a candle. When the candle is lit, what was once unlit becomes a flame. The flame can flicker if we shake it or if a gust of wind blows, causing the light to waver due to air movement. If this force is too strong, the flame can be extinguished. The Buddha then asks, what happens to the flame? Some monks answered that the flame would go in the direction of the wind. If the wind blew from the left, the flame would go out from left to right, from east to west, or from north to south, and vice versa. Many other monks remained silent. The Buddha responded by saying that seeking and defining the direction in which the flame goes is unnecessary. If we assume the flame has a direction, we should observe how it moves. However, discussing the flame's direction after it has been extinguished is not appropriate. This example was given to explain death, specifically the departure of genuine practitioners who have lived a stable life of practice and attained peace in this life. Speculating about their rebirth direction is inappropriate because they will depart according to their wishes. So, where do we go after death? Death follows our wishes. This explanation has not satisfied many Buddhist scholars due to its brevity and lack of comprehensive detail about the meaning of departure. Scholars often want to delve into philosophical propositions or predictions about the Buddha's death and afterlife, leaving them unsatisfied and continuing to ask similar questions. The Buddha redirected them to the present life, emphasizing the importance of asking questions and seeking solutions for a peaceful, happy, and tranquil life, rather than pondering where the flame goes after it is extinguished. In the Great Nirvana Sutra, the Buddha provided an answer to satisfy the curious. He used the metaphor of the sun's 12-hour rotation during the day. When the day ends, darkness begins to appear. In the Buddha's time, people did not have knowledge about space, the sun, the moon, or life on other planets. The Buddha used simple metaphors to explain the death and rebirth of enlightened beings, comparing it to the sun. When night falls, it does not mean the sun is gone. It continues to shine on the other side of the earth, indicating it still exists and functions. This demonstrates that the death and rebirth of enlightened beings follow their wishes, provided there are conditions and opportunities to benefit sentient beings. This explanation satisfies philosophical inquiries about the nature of post-death existence for great monks. But what about ordinary people like us? Where do we go after death? The answer lies entirely in the attitude of the person departing. Rebirth according to karma. Venerable Nada the Thera presented a profound example using the image of a tree. No matter how straight a tree stands, it will always have a certain inclination. For example, a mahogany tree, an areca palm, or a coconut tree. If you try to cut it with a machine or by hand, you will surely see that the tree falls in the direction of its lean. So which way does it fall? It will inevitably fall towards its inclination. Even if a tree stands tall and upright, just a gust of wind blowing along its inclination will cause it to fall. If the inclination is around 100 degrees or more, the tree will fall even before it is completely cut through. The outer bark will break instantly. Similarly, the flow of karma is reflected in people's professions and positions. Repeated actions form the momentum of behavior. This momentum pushes the rebirth process along a certain trajectory, sometimes leaving the deceased or those about to pass away without a choice. They must go along the path driven by karma, and this force creates the diverse phenomena of life with varying inborn factors like personality, culture, and customs. The preservation of different customs and traditions is not by chance. During the process of rebirth, all cultural habits, customs, and behaviors accumulate in the form of karmic energy. This karmic energy drives an individual from the moment life begins as a new embryo in the mother's womb. In the Ulambana Sutra, the Buddha mentions the interaction between the embryo and the mother's personality. If the child is unruly, it will kick and cause pain to the mother, or instead of emerging head first, it may present feet first. This is a physical manifestation, and if the person's upbringing is not good, they will tend to follow the momentum of the karma that has been planted, often irresistibly. The personality attaches to an individual from the moment they exist as an embryo. That is why geniuses, prodigies, or individuals with special talents in certain fields are not a result of random chance or the creation of a deity, but are defined by their karma. I had the opportunity to watch the Hollywood movie Kundun, which portrays the life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The film's beginning is fascinating, depicting the search for the 14th Dalai Lama's reincarnation. The 13th Dalai Lama left a will indicating that he would be reborn in the Hasa region, a border area of Tibet, into a family devout in Buddhism, with certain specific traits described in his will. About 6 years after his passing, the monks began searching for his reincarnation based on the will. Upon reaching a certain village, the search party was impressed when they saw a boy playing with other children. This boy had a very kind, compassionate face. The children were playing a game of making crickets fight, and they were all cheering when one cricket won. While the other children were joyously clapping, Kundun reacted differently. He stepped in, separating the children, and using his hands to pull the crickets apart, setting one cricket far away so they couldn't fight again. Kundun did not allow the children to derive joy from the suffering of the crickets, showing a natural compassion. A 6-year-old boy with such compassion, without being taught about peace or compromise, strongly indicated that he was the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama, considered a living Buddha, an incarnation of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of great compassion. However, this was not enough to definitively determine that he was the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama, so further tests were conducted. The 13th Dalai Lama had a habit of using an old, shabby pair of glasses. In a test, several pairs of new, attractive glasses were placed alongside the old pair. Despite the appeal of the new glasses, the boy Kundun chose the old pair used by the 13th Dalai Lama. The old glasses, though not beautiful, were cherished by the Dalai Lama, indicating a personal connection only the owner would feel. This was the second indication confirming the reincarnation. Another test involved seating arrangements. According to Tibetan tradition, the Dalai Lama always sat in the center during ceremonies, being both a spiritual and national leader. During a family meal, Kundun sat in his father's seat at the center. When told by his father to move, Kundun insisted, "No, this is my seat." This behavior was not about asserting ego, but about demonstrating his rightful place and responsibility. Yet another test involved a walking stick used by the 13th Dalai Lama. Many similar sticks were presented, but Kundun chose the one that belonged to the Dalai Lama. The identification of the reincarnation often involves such tests, showing that the personality and qualities of the previous and current lives are fundamentally linked by karma. The continuity of karma ensures that traits, habits, and qualities persist from one life to the next, although they may be influenced by education, customs, environment, and interactions. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who might benefit from it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, follow, and turn on the notification bell. This is how you can show your support for me. Once again, thank you very much, and see you in the next videos.